Alright, welcome everybody. Welcome to my channel. It's William Jamming here, and this channel is all about digital art and my journey of learning digital art. So in this video, I'm going to share with you guys about how to draw a point light rather than direction light. So previous video, I shared with you guys the method I learned when draw direction light in Procreate. Basically, direction light is just a lot of parallel light that's coming, say, from a really far places, like from the sun, and so it's parallel, and so when you draw this this shadow, you need to consider the light should go right here, so it will not get far away places like this, and then you need to add the reflective light at place like this places. Okay, so yeah, and then what about the direction light? So what about point light? Okay, so let's change the point light. I think this is an example of point light that I draw earlier, and so the difference between point light and direction light is that point light coming from one point, and so the light is not parallel with each other, but rather it's scattered around. Scattered around, so the shadow will be bigger. Okay, so yeah, so I think that's the only difference. And of course, the reflective light will not be as strong as the direction light, because it's scattered around, and the reflect is much thinner than, yeah, because remember, every time a light bounces from a surface, approximately just decrease that by 90%. That's how I remember it. Of course, that all depends on different materials and textures of the thing that they bounce. But that's how I remember it. So do not use a really high value for the reflective light unless let's say it bounces from a glass surface. Okay, so yeah, without further ado, let's build this ourselves. Okay, so just clear everything. Okay, so we got a new area, and let me use another color just to practice different color. Okay, this one, and use the let's use a techno pen just to make it a little bit nicer. Okay, so and drop it here. Okay, and then let's adding all this direction light. So we got the light coming here, so let me add in points, and so the point light will go something like this. Okay, so you got the idea of how wide the shadow might be. And here is another tip for you: adding a layer, just put it down below this layer, and using the let me change the spray pen. That's too much. Maybe just airbrush. Soft brush will be enough. And I'm going to get a dark color, make a really small brush, but opacity increase that. Okay, so you got this darkest area that light will never get in, and you increase the size but decrease the opacity. I think I already discussed this earlier. Okay, then you sort of blend it and make it out a little bit. Let me just increase the opacity, because the yeah, you might. Okay, and let me decrease the opacity and increase the size. Okay, so this is a good way of gradually increase the shadow area. Okay, something like that. And you don't need to get a really perfect shadow, because you can use blur blur later. So let's using the Gaussian blur and blur it a little bit. Yeah, perfect. And yeah, and of course you can adjust the size as well. So you can adjust the size if you think that's too much, or you can adjust the size and put it in the right places. Okay, so we got this point light shadowy area, and then of course, yeah, same old method, adding a layer and select it so we will not draw outside of this area. And remember to choose the area that you want to draw above the original area, and you adding the shadow. Okay, so after you add a shadow, increase the opacity, and yeah, get the most shadowy parts ready. Yeah, something like that. And of course, you can add the reflective, or you can just leave some part out as a reflective, as a tilt of a reflective light. Okay, and yeah, so if you can't do this leaving out maneuver, you can just use eraser to erase part of it, but do remember to use a really soft brush eraser, and make it really not so opaque, and so you can just do it really soft erasing. Okay, and yeah, something like that. So yeah, you can do something like this. Okay, and of course you can always duplicate or using the Gaussian blur. That's my personal favorite, is using the Gaussian blur to blur it just a touch, because when you blur it, you got a sort of the light surrounding area. That's because when you blur it, just zooming it out of the original constraint, so you can get a nice lighting around it, and I think that's really good. And I'm going to decrease the opacity a little bit, just to make it nice, not so so too much of the blend. And of course you can always add in a really small adjustments later by using the brush. Just adding a little bit of adjustment. So it's all about adding some of the dark above, just to make it really nice, really natural feeling. Okay, so yeah, once you've done that, the final things to add in the reflection, you can use if depending on the material, if it's really reflective, you can use a drawing, and maybe just inking, tyco pen, and you can just add something like this. Okay, so you get a really reflective feeling. And of course you can use if it's got a rough surface, you can use the airbrush, soft brush, and something like that. You just give it a light, yeah, maybe not too much. That's definitely too much. Let's just give you something like this. Okay, and of course you can use the same method, because it's a reflection. You can increase the opacity while decrease the size, just to make it multiple layered reflection. And of course you can using the blend, soft blend brush, to nicely blend it. Okay, so give you and of course you can use smudge tool. All this tool just achieve the same same result, which will be just blend it. And after you already got this nice blend, you can change that to say lighten, screen, color dodge, add. I think add is really good. And yeah, just adjust the different settings. I think I'm going to go with add this time. Okay, so get a really nice reflection. And of course, our friend Gaussian blur, you can add in that as well, so you give it nice, like a glowing. And of course you can use the same method, like you can duplicate this. Okay, so I'm going to not, sorry, let me move it up a little bit. You can duplicate this and make this a Gaussian blur. So this is just another technique that I learned. If you make this Gaussian blur, you would just get glowing underneath it, and I think it's really interesting. Okay, so you can adjust the glowing. So for example, you can move it above and decrease the opacity, so it's a sort of a see-through. Okay, so you can get some effects like this, and of course you can adjust just to play around with the different layer. It will give you a different feeling. Okay, so if you're really glowing right now, you can just make it really outside, and like you got a jewel that's really glowing. And I can duplicate it, make some part of the glowing down, and select it by using a really big Gaussian blur to get a really nice background. And then this we'll just apply the normal Gaussian blur. We'll just make it really transparent, so you give it a nice texture feeling. Okay, so yeah, that's basically how to dealing with the point light, as well as some technique that we can use to apply the object to make a glow. And of course, you want to make the object really like not glow from the light, but rather from within. We can do that as well. So I think this tutorial, in next tutorial, sorry, this tutorial, let's just stay with the reflection of glow. Let me just group all that together. Okay, so I think I can group all that by swipe all this together and make a new group, and hide it, of course. Yeah, maybe adding this inside of this group as well. Sorry, inside of this group as well. Where is the? Okay, so I'm going to make it inside of the group and hide the group altogether. And it's weird, I should have already added the shadow in. Okay, so I already added shadowing and hide all the group. And in the next tutorial, I think I'm going to introduce you guys how to make the actual glowing object. Okay, so if the say there's some magic stone that glowing from inside, even though there's no outside lighting, you can do that as well. Okay, so that's for next tutorial. And if you think my video is helpful, do please subscribe to my channel. I really need it to reach that monetization hurdle. And yeah, I will see you in the next video. Bye.